Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. We are now live in the pre-lobby for game number 2 here at the Auzom Premier League. This is Lobby Red. We're in week 6 of this season's competition. I am JoRoSaR. Joining me is CammmyD, and we have iTwisterr on the observing deck. Cammy, how's it going?
Doing good. Last game was really good. Hoping to find a new terrain ending though, just to kind of mix it up on game number 2.
Sure.
Gentside obviously lucked out just a little bit with that compound.
It was ridiculous. I don't know what god they pray to, but that's going to be my first interview
Now
question.
let's not downplay their abilities in this game as well. They did have to do a fair bit of work to defend that compound. We saw them get invaded a couple of times. And even when Kinguin did that run out across the field that we unfortunately missed on camera, but you could see it in the kill feed, they still had to hit those shots against them. And so even though they did get a small leg up with that compound being in the circle, it's also good on them to take that compound in the early game, because that compound, if it's still in the circle, is real impactful.
So good. And to be fair, last week we saw Gentside successfully defend a compound that wasn't even like the only compound in the last circle or anything like that. They held off something like 3 different invasions by 3 teams, but in the space of about 4 in-game minutes. So they just comfortably had the meds to do that. They repositioned themselves quickly enough that they could hold off the next team. These guys are good at coordinating themselves in a fight, right? They are amazing. So yes, okay, a little bit of luck with the circle, but at the same time, oh my god, it was fantastic. We have the plane now here for game number 2, and it's going to be coming in from a 3 o'clock position, looking like it will be exiting the map at 10. So once again, a 50-50 split, but a very, very different plane path, even though it is still split quite evenly.
This is pretty good. The only places that I'd be a little worried about are perhaps military base in Primorsk. But even those places aren't the worst to get to. You mean this isn't an
instant long shoot military for you in your pub games? I'd do it.
I mean, I long drop all the time. If I played to my game strategy, I don't see a single individual until 25 minutes into
Dude, we could so get top 500. Like, we are so in tune in terms of strategy. This plane would come along, and Twister, who's observing this evening, I'd be like, Twister, we're going Stalber. And he'll go, you what? And an interesting conversation will ensue that will basically...
We're right over school.
No way. Is that... Please tell me there's... We might end up going school when we have that kind of conversation. Right, we have back from Zaki, Dave the Crazy and Fawn going to be moving in school themselves. It's not going to be as hotly contested as one of our pub games. HAVU have taken Pachinki, and it looks like 2 people are going to be going south. aTTaX looks like they might be vehicle hunting south of farm. Haven't 100% seen what they're doing yet, or whether that happens to be a long shoot across to Sosnovka Island. And Milta looking pretty spicy to start things off. 4 vehicles already, though. Wow, wow, wow. Royal Banditos.
Yeah, that actually, them finding those 4.
Oh, wait, that's a boat.
Them away. One of them's a boat, but 3 of them are not. And so actually stealing those away from Ronin is going to be huge, not just allowing them to get over to the military base themselves. But what's also interesting is that there are 3 teams in between Power and Milta. You have, what team is that? That's Riddle Esports caught in between House of Nobles and Ronin. And so them kind of sharing that loot could be a little tricky. It seems that all these teams recognize that Milta and Milta Power were open from last game, but then quite a few of them, too many, went to go and try to spread that loot. Gentside being just north of them as well is going to put a lot of pressure. And so we'll see how these teams all kind of work it out. I'm especially worried about Riddle getting enough loot, but any of these teams finding enough vehicles in order to transition, because you already commented on the circle. Making that transition to the circle is not going to be the easiest.
I would pay a pretty penny to listen to alternate aTTaX team comms right now, who are still long shooting towards military. They saw the circle pop up. The collective groaning must be huge. And what's worse, they're going to get to military comfortably after OPG and co, Royal Banditos, have actually parked up their vehicles and started looting. This is not ideal at all for them. And they might just be, goodness knows, but they might just get vehicles and try and get the heck out. They've got no clue who's here right now. And this is not ideal, especially with this circle.
It
was a great risk, though, right, Cameron? I mean, at the end of the day, like they were the only ones technically to go mill base until Royal Banditos got those 4 vehicles. It was a nice shot.
Oh, this is gonna be huge though. Cloud the gun on the roof already. It's only UMP, but still doing so much damage. Elixir and with so little health left. Looks like they are able to turn away Sun Touch, now trying to time in with his own, and yes, Cloudtate does find the drop onto Lixer, and he is down. Don't know if he's going to get picked up by a teammate because Sunbird is on the chase. Try and finalize that kill, and Frost, he's out of there. They're just leaving Lixer, and they don't want to risk it. They have no way to defend themselves, and now here is the time to panic.
This is this is frustrating as heck, to say the least. Not much you can do there as Lixer goes down. He is going to be the first person from the team out of the game. Incredibly frustrating experience, and an ump from the roof with the iron sights was enough to get them a team member down, and still without the weapons necessary to defend themselves against an attack. Alternate attacks now. Well, quite literally, you're going to have to find alternate attacks. They've gone to the crossroads between Novo and Millbase, and I like this. They'll have a couple of buildings to themselves. They have the option of spotting when people are going to be moving out from Millbase. That circle is severity focused. It's about 35 to 40% water. There will not be a lot of places to hide that aren't inside severity itself. So whoever gets there first will have an advantage of securing a compound and not being one of the ones that everybody shoots at. And once again, guess who's lucky? Liquid.
Frost.
No.
They don't know that they're doing that.
Oh, please no.
Split 2 military base 2 in Novo, but Frosty has no clue that the other two are in Novo, so he could be running into his death once again.
Tragedy.
Already run out trying to meet the vehicle in turn, but Frost heard something, spotted something. Shots been taken at him. Did swap over to UAZ earlier, and so it's a little safer of an exodus. Trying to leave, gets over the hill just in time. That would have been unfortunate if aTTaX lose 2 because of this late arrival to Sosnovka.
Exactly right. That would have been Shakespearean levels of tragic there. That would really have sucked for alternate attacks. He gets away, but he's getting away empty-handed. He's still trying to work out where the hell he's getting his gear from this game. This must be incredibly frustrating for them. Meanwhile, coming into the circle now, we can see Gentside just taking a couple of pot shots, and that's because it's right on top of a hill. No real possibility there of taking someone out, or at least not in a non-revivable position. Team Liquid, once again, Yasnaya has proved reasonably kind to them for the second game in a row. They can leave whenever they feel like, which looks like to be now, but they've had Yasnaya all to themselves.
Yeah, it's really pretty good for them. Samty going out first, and Ibiza not too far behind, trying to find some compound to get to, but you can see the timing. They're not first here. We've already had a couple of teams also moving in. That's actually Dave the Crazy, Robin Fawn, that team. They're actually going a little split right now. But Falek, he looted up this area, and he's in the very impactful cross compound area south of Severity, taking a number of shots.
It's a very big risk strategy back from Zaki here. Very split up in separate vehicles. Maybe they're looking to actually be the team that, you know, defies the odds and camps inside Severity where no one else wants to get that kind of urban location there. I don't know if that... what they're ending up doing, but they're certainly surrounding the city, so we'll keep an eye on what compound they decide to descend in on. They're all over the place at the moment, taking a couple of shots at Team Liquid as well, and it looks like they have found a compound. Team Liquid are not going to be able to secure this. They're coming in here in second place, and as a result, back from Zarki, well, there's no broken wall or anything. This isn't amazing, but it does have a really good 360 view from that top floor.
Yeah, it's nice. Board in the tree. You got Tom Shi coming in, grouping up with his teammate. From action is coming in that cross area, but Liquid and Kinguin both trying to fight for a secondary position. Gaxi gets taken out by Ibiza and full on kill. No trade coming through. There's another player of Kinguin here. Gonna trade it out. Bard going in for the push. Spots the head, gets the drop on Ibiza.
Beautiful.
There's gonna be a 1-for-1 trade in the end for Liquid, but already Samty is here to try and trade it out. And Ibiza, he's not full dropped yet. Bard trying to push around the corner, does finally get the full-on kill, and Samty didn't want to stick around and commit to this fight. They wanted to cut their losses and find a third place to maybe go to.
I mean, these guys, second and third place in the previous game. Obviously, the moment someone went down, they could tell. It was a Kinguin versus Liquid. And oh man, Team Liquid, they can't buy a compound right now, but they did get there ever so slightly quicker than Shmoof, who has been warded off. So that's going to be Riddle Esports looking somewhere else. Now, Riddle Esports, winner of one of the games last time around. Oh, no, Kisei, did he get the memo? I sure hope he did. But he's stopping at the moment. This is awkward. There's 1v2 here. Skoom is in the compound, on the in the building, rather, on the right-hand side. And he could be peeking around the edge very soon indeed.
he does peek, but doesn't land too many shots. He sees Spoof come up and realizes he doesn't want to take this fight, especially because Riddle Esports does have that player up on the hill above them to have some good angles to spot as well. So Liquid, there is a third player alive. That player needs to come up soon because right now this is looking to be a very dangerous 2v3. Samty up close, trying to hear if anyone invades his building with a nice little angle right onto the door. But they do still need to be really worried. And here comes Kisei, about to run straight in. He's not checking the corner. Samty with an easy kill there. Well, the question is, will this be enough to deter Riddle Esports from continuing into this fight? That does seem to be the case, as Spoof does pop back onto his bike, but he's taking some shots from Samty still. Trying to run away. Oh, just barely dodging all these shots. Gets over the hill. Not out of it just yet, but he's at least safe for now.
Easy to say and hard to do in PLAYERUNKNOWN'S Battlegrounds. Always check your corners. Riddle Esports going to get pushed out of the compound after losing one of their team members very early on. He did go in there pretty hot shot, all guns blazing, I have to say. And definitely didn't pay off for him on that occasion. They will be able to survive as a team, though, but they need to find somewhere else to go. And this is crunch time. Oh, no. Spoof goes down to Gentside. That's awkward. So they're trying to run away. They can't even do that effectively. There are too many people in the circle right now. The later you come in vehicles, in a circle like this, where so many people are far away, the more you're just going to get continually shot at.
VAR taking some shots at the Gentside, but Gentside have their sights on the last remaining player, or one of the last remaining players of Riddle Esports. Getting in his vehicle, trying to rotate away. Megadorp taking some shots. aTTaX. Oh, so low, and that's gonna be the vehicle explosion. Frank is down and out, and now I believe Riddle are down to just one. That's Symphonized there you see on the right.
Then Symphonize, all on his lonesome, looking for an opportunity to find a nice bit of defilade, sort of maybe in the lower sort of regions of Stalber Mountain. He just wants to camp out and wait right now. And with all 14 teams still alive, you don't want to be occupying that final place. What's likely to happen now, of course, is that one of the teams that might not be in the circle yet, who end up driving in, they could be the ones to go out in 14th if they're not careful. Looking for a compound at this stage of the game is going to be incredibly difficult indeed. Kailang popping a smoke just so he can loot safely, never knowing who can actually spot him from far away. And of course, last week we saw a lot of amusing scenarios where as soon as someone popped a smoke, another team popped a frag right in it. It turns out to be quite a fun game, the pressure cooker strategy. Luckily, you can't really do it from quite this far range where so much of the terrain is plains, but that is quite fun to do. You see someone pop a smoke, you go, okay, don't know exactly where you are, but I'm sure this frag will tell me.
So again, I do want to point out just how favored Center is right now. And it could just be that not that many teams in this lobby like the Edge, but it also could do with the fact that it's only 14 teams, and so once again that little heightened sense of security. We saw that kind of backfire on a couple of the teams, Riddle Esports being one of them, taking a little bit of damage, but also Liquid kind of struggling a little bit, trying to find a home for themselves. We're able to kind of solidify everything in the end, fortunately for them, but it is still a little bit of a struggle, and even though there are 14 teams, it's not as safe as it may otherwise feel.
So the teams are reasonably settled in the circle right now. Alternate attack. What are you doing? Royal Banditos now making their way in from military. Goodness knows what's going to happen when they get into the circle. They're going to get shot at by so many people. It's going to be hilarious. But if they manage to make it in, then all credit to them. Liquid going along the beach, being very, very sneaky indeed. Water strategy as the number of available compounds goes down is potentially possible. And the team that ended up taking Severny as well, I want to call this out, No Loot Gaming. So outsider Janssen, aTTaX and co. are the only ones in the main city itself. Of course, urban warfare so difficult to deal with.
Oh no, spin out from Jeems is dangerous for him, pops out, runs to the water, crouches behind the defilade of the beach, and he is going to be safe for now, but the question is, where are his remaining two teammates going to go? I think they're going to stop just to the east of Severny. It is going to be the case. Scoom, now you see peeking out, trying to spot if that gas station is safe, and he doesn't spot anyone inside, and so there could be Samty making his own way towards there.
James
or could just going back to the compound that they had, because they didn't actually have to move. Their compound is in the circle. Right now, it's Robin Nick them 249 taking some shots at a passing vehicle.
I was gonna say with the ammo that gun has, it's gonna be rather frustrating if that vehicle manages to stay in sight for more than a second or two. They just about managed to get out of the way. Back from Zaki, still the 2-2 split, but presumably they're gonna be getting together at some point. So, oh no, and Jeems gets headshot out of the water, unfortunately. So the yellow polka dot bikini is no more, sadly. He will be 1 down, so Team Liquid down to 3 members there. Gentside with a compound overlooking Severny. They've also spotted No Loot Gaming, who have taken up residence as well.
So Sampty on a curious rotation now, but I think he's just doing loops around. Maybe trying to bait out shots to find some information. It's risky considering they're only down to 2, but desperate times do call for desperate measures. He also could just be going on top of the hill to have better access to information, but he needs to worry though because he may be running into Kylank. Stops below the hill. It's going to be peeking up above it. Doesn't get no shots. Oh, no. Right when I say that, shots on his position immediately went back from Zarky. He's going to hide behind the hill. He is going to be safe for now. But
come on, Cameron.
Out of this position are going to be difficult.
You should know better. The responsibility to insta-cast a curse everyone you see on screen. It's gonna happen, man. And Sampty is not going to be enjoying that. Dave the Crazy to one side and most of Gentside to the other means that yes, he'll be able to stay where he is, but no, he won't be able to peek up above. And oh, rest in pepperoni, Symphonize, who gets taken out by Ronins, and as a result, we are finally down to 13 teams in this game.
2 of which I believe are still outside the blue.
I mean, oh, that's right. It does take them a... Oh, wow. And they're both going through the left side as well. Okay. So, teams to watch out for in the next couple of minutes. Team Dignitas are going to be wondering, how on earth is someone in vehicles coming into the zone at this time? They potentially will have a field day. But I like the fact that they came in on the left-hand side, though. I mean, take a look at this. If they went around the bridge in Yasnaya, they'll be going through 4 or 5 teams on the way to Severny. Going this way, they might just have to go past Dignitas. And if they go really extreme south, maybe no one.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if anyone, I would be surprised if no one went up towards the more west side. aTTaX does recognize that the team made it in before them, and so it's going to be looping around the longer way. Thankfully for them, the blue doesn't do too much damage just yet. Their timing is kind of about as late to come in. Oh no, Sampty! Gentside actually pushes in on his position. So he's going to get taken down from behind that UAZ, and that's really no res available. So Liquid, coming in after a second place finish, are down to 1 player so early. And Gentside, if they're greedy, they could be going after Scoob now.
They don't know where Scoob is yet, of course. I don't think Scoob's taken shots at them. A couple of grenades coming out from Andrea, wanting to finally get the kill on Sampty so that they don't have to worry about him anymore. Oh, he has actually spotted Scoob at the gas station as well, almost taking the wheel out of that dasher. Is he going to try and go for the res here, or is he just going to be moving away?
He may just be trying to retreat, go towards the water, trying to pick up Sampty at this stage of the game would be absolute suicide. He's just trying to run away and snake his way in for the rest of the game. Let his teammate lead down for his mistake. Let's go looking at this next little circle. It's still quite central here, but more teams have to rotate at this point. Gentside, you can see them just barely on the edge. Kinguin actually quite center, playing the side of the shooting range, and they have Vard, I believe, out in Severny as well for a little bit of a split. Taking some shots at a buggy driving past, not landing too many other shots, but the wheel is blown. That is a spin out, and Vazku a little bit of trouble, but thankfully for him, not too much damage onto his body himself. Down
3
to
tags.
30, right? When I say that, yep, down to 30 HP. But he is going to be safe, at least for Kinguin for now. Don't know what other sightlines other teams have on him.
Kinguin have to be very aggressive in that sort of position because they're very open to attack from multiple angles just around the plains and the surrounding hills. So they need to send a lot of shots off, let people know they're there, make sure they're very loud, and ensure that nobody actually comes up behind them. Or if they do, have a... Oh, Cloudtail. Don't do this, Cloudtail. Team Dignitas are there, Cloudtail. And Royal Banditos are going to realize very quickly they're going to have to rotate a little bit further west.
Yeah, but if they rotate up too far west, they could be running into alternate attacks. See them just barely on the edge of the blue. Stopping right now to heal up before making their way on foot through the hills and be taking southwest edge of shooting range, or I guess angle off of shooting range. Dignitas right now, though, they spotted out Cloudtail earlier. Hearing the vehicles move as well, could be worried about a team potentially breaching it onto this position. But, what team is that? Royal Banditos. Long way. Oh no, sometimes you stopped too early on top of the hill, taking a lot of damage. Down to 15 HP. It is gonna hide from them for now.
The next team might actually end up being Team Liquid again. Scoom rotating around to the right-hand side. He could be coming up on either House of Nobles or back from Zaki. We'll see how far south he ends up getting, but I'm a little bit worried he's going to run straight into House of Nobles if he tries to get into the circle too quickly indeed. Remember, he is only playing as a single player right now. So, no second player to revive him if something goes wrong. And already, yeah, shots being fired. He's going to run away. He needs to find a safe place to go.
Good job of him to stop and try and scout it out first instead of just going in straight deep. House of Noble is actually playing outside of that circle with the split that they have going on. A little late just for this exact situation. Popping over to Opti right now. Looks like they've actually spotted out alternate attacks coming on this position. The vehicle usage by Roller Banditos while avoiding Dignitas actually put them in a position to now gatekeep attacks, and attacks are in a very tricky situation because they have to run through one of two teams. They can't avoid them unless they want to go back into the blue in their vehicles, and that could be quite risky.
Yeah, being the second of those two teams to come into the circle is really going to hurt alternate attacks in a second. They are, to be honest, they are the team in the trickiest position right now. In order to move forward without getting into the path of a team, they have to rotate way too far south. The circle is already closing in. There's no real chance for them to do that. They have to pick somewhere where they're going to risk the engagement. There's no other way out right now.
Looking to subverting right now, Vard, the solo member from Kinguin, not only one remaining, but he's just playing by himself, and Severny at this point does get a down onto Eggy so he puts more pressure onto Gentside. That's an easy pickup from Gentside, so they're going to stay 4 strong. But Vard, I really like what he's doing right now, playing as a solo member, just trying to deal as much damage as possible in the surrounding area to give the other 2 members of Kinguin a very nice shot into the later game of finishing off kills and maintaining control of their position in the circle.
And this is so important for the overall point standings as well. Kinguin with fewer players, Liquid with fewer players have to stay alive as long as possible. Gentside, the previous winners, they've got all 4 people alive, right? You need to be in a position where if you're down players against a team like that, you just have to survive as long as possible. That is the difference, and that's what makes those top teams get those consistent top 3 finishes. That separates a team that can win from a team that can win and consistently place in tournaments top 3s. So those are the kind of skills we're going to be seeing Liquid using at the moment. Kinguin, not so much. They're only down a player, but Gentside at the moment has just played both of today's games superbly.
Here comes the rotation time. Everyone's trying to get into the circle right now. Gentside out in a little shack on top of the hill, but taking a couple of shots from a number of different teams. Eggy actually goes down. But you see in the kill feed, a lot of players actually going down because of these late rotations through. Kylan just barely getting behind the cover, trying to get the revive, but no, he can't. He can't find a safe angle. He's dropped as well, and I think Gentside just down. They're still down to 2, but they're not gonna be able to get a revive on these 2 players. Vic and Andrea. Oh, can they find a tiny little hill to hide behind? It's gonna be risky, but I think they've just barely found a tiny little cubby to chill in.
That was a big moment for Team Gentside. They, well, cast a curse, I suppose, but they have been playing incredibly well, and suddenly they're down to 2, and now they're feeling the wrath of Kinguin as well. Balix with a massive full auto on a buggy, managing to get a wheel out too, and there goes Robin. Farmer's going to be able to get him back, though, and that is back from Zarky, taking 1 for the team. So, trade so far, both sides descending upon this small compound.
Sun Touch actually is dropped by Zentas, so that's not from Action is Coming, who are trying to hold this compound in a split of their own, but you can see how dangerous a split can be in the late game. No trade possible from Action is Coming. And actually, multiple nades come in, and now Cases falls as well. I believe they're just down to 2 at this point. Or make that 1, I think. Yeah, exactly, it's just Tom. Right. She left from Action is Coming, wasn't able to defend their position well enough, and now has to share this compound with another team.
Action is Coming back from Zarky. I wonder if we can get enough team names together, if we'd be able to string together a short story there. But at the moment, back from Zarky definitely have the upper hand in that engagement. South of them and moving quickly towards them, though, are the Royal Banditos. They've been running around doing a pretty good job in the mid to late game. P-Day in particular, I think he's got 2 or 3 kills to his name now. And they were the guys who also managed to ambush Gentside to an extent earlier too. So they're having a very good late game, and they're very close to the center of the next circle.
Taking this position, I believe they actually killed 2 players of Ronin who were also utilizing a late game split. So that's 2 examples and actually a span of maybe like a minute of why splits are so dangerous into the late game, particularly when it's a split like what Ronin were employing, where those 2 splits couldn't help each other out.
True.
Bandito's easy dive in onto that position where the 2 now dead players of Ronin were not able to defend themselves.
I guess the one thing maybe to say for teams like these guys is that you have to recognize as well that a split has occurred, because to be brave enough to make the call to say, yes, we think this is a split team, go collapse in on them, and you have to be prepared to potentially be very wrong if you end up pushing in on a full team of 4 and you lose the fight. So these guys need to know what they're doing. They have good game sense. They played with these teams a lot before as well, and they need to be sure of their intel. So it's not all one-way traffic, ladies and gents. The aggressive team, even if it is a 4v2, they need to be sure of what they're doing.
So as you saw pointed out, Scoom is still alive. Last remaining member of Liquid able to rotate all the way to the south, just barely behind HAVU. HAVU only with 2. And they're actually a little wide from each other. Bikini Model looks like he wants to go a little aggressive and try and gatekeep that edge, but by himself it could be a little too much for him to ask for. It's possibly biting off a little more than he could chew, but JoRoSaR with another angle onto Dignitas.
Very split.
Long range shots coming through.
Both HAVU members are actually firing on the same squad, but it does mean that they know that there's a wide variety of angles on them. The only advantage they have is that if they're so far apart, it's difficult to tell if they're a team of 2 or a full team of 4, I suppose. And No Loot Gaming are looking back in their direction. HAVU don't want to engage here, so they need to be careful. Taking those shots initially, that's all well and good, but if they start pushing you, you're going to be in a tough spot.
On to Scoom right now. He knows that HAVU is ahead of them because of the shots that we were just pointing out earlier. Wants to crawl into the circle, doesn't have a lot of cover. It's a wide open field before he can get to that tree that I believe is just barely inside the zone. So he wants to hope that HAVU do not look behind them, or maybe perhaps gets breached upon by Dignitas coming in from the south trying to fight HAVU, taking some shots onto JoRoSaR, taking some shots onto the vehicle. Can't quite hit shots from below the car bed, but they at least remove the tires.
They're not careful, they'll blow it up as well. It's the car's probably about halfway to its expiry date, so they have to be very wary of that. And you know who's profiting from all of this, of course? Scoom. He is happy that everyone else is shooting, because that means no one is going to be looking on the south edge of the circle there. Bikini Model getting a lot of fire directed his way, using the rock for good cover there. And Kinguin, unfortunately, going down in the meantime. Bikini Model getting pushed by Dignitas. Zyphon will be able to finish that off.
Scoom also gets taken out by Dignitas. Spotted out in the corner, so unfortunate for him, but now it's just one remaining member of HAVU. JoRoSaR is trying to snake it out of his own.
Ooh, is that Kinguin down as well? Do we have any more people from
Kinguin, they still have 2 alive. They only lost 1, but they took out Ronin in the meantime, and now Vard reaching in on another team. It's gonna be MyTech. Get taken out, 2 of them down, 1 of them very low. And now some more smokes being thrown out by Kinguin just to stop No Loot Gaming from third-partying, but Dignitas are also chiming in with shots of their own.
Kinguin doing well, but they have a tricky position to defend here. There are a lot of sight lines. The blue zone is coming in. They need to be darting from cover to cover. A lot of teams in this western side of the circle right now. And No Loot Gaming shooting from the outside. Miraku going down to the play zone. Vard having to try and rush into the smoke, but he doesn't get it. Zyphon will be able to finish off that kill. And as a result, we are down to 7. So Kinguin and Liquid, 2nd and 3rd place, both out of the game here in game number 2.
Just the nature of Battlegrounds. And actually, the next circle pulls off of every team. Only a couple of teams of 4. One of them being House of Nobles. And I like that the spread that they're doing at this point to try and maintain control of this position. But we also still have Royal Banditos. Came in incredibly late into the circle and find themselves in a pretty decent spot. Long range shot don't exactly land. And actually, it seems that they're spotted from elsewhere as well. No Loot Gaming, I don't think.
Wow.
He understands just how lucky he is. A couple of shots now in his position, and finally Cloudtill gets it to land. Knocks the player out.
We have the last remaining member from Gentside versus the last remaining member from MyTech as well, over at the sort of 10 o'clock position of the circle. So they're really trying to push into each other as well. I have a feeling that they want to take that quadrant so that they can avoid the team of 4 that are Royal Banditos.
Did Jansen just kill 3T Butts by tossing a frag when he thought he tossed a smoke for a revive?
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, there's the smoke. That's what he wanted.
Got him.
That's
it's alright,
okay.
guys. I fixed the problem. Don't even worry about it. You ever get that feeling when your teammate just has really sick loot and you don't? Just saying. Just saying.
and they're not telling you what they have to try and
sorry,
share.
bro. Yeah,
It's like, no, dude, I only have 50 extra ammo. I don't have 300. What are you talking about?
But you have an M249. No, I don't. It's an M16. I know the feeling. I know the feeling all too well. All right, so in the meanwhile, Dignitas actually have a really good position coming into the circle now. If they're able to knuckle down, maybe if they can get rid of Janssen, they'll be in a good position to sort of hold the western part of the circle. Gentside, by the way, in the meantime, has gone down. Andrea, I believe, was their last member, and he went down to the last member of MyTech. So all three of the top 3 teams from the last game are now out and won't be part of the top 5. Janssen goes down as well, so that's Team 11 No Loot Gaming bowing out of the game, which leaves Dignitas in that 8 o'clock position in the final circle. And we also have House of Nobles taking a solid bit of ground as well.
House of Nobles actually, I believe they got 4th last game, and so getting at least 4th once again is putting them in a very nice spot this series. And actually a nice spot in the circle as well. They have the ridge to work behind, and they also can just wait for the other 2 full squads to take care of each other before they then have to chime in of their own. It is 3 teams of 4 left.
Consistency
Botsman
is
on a
the
wide
name of the game.
Yeah. Botsman is on a wide angle trying to spot anything to help out the main core group of 3. They're the ones in a fight with Dignitas right now.
Oh my.
Over the ridge, after gets it down to Sun Touch. Spray transfer does do its job, gets a second before he falls in return. It's only 2 remaining now from Royal Banditos, but Tontil is getting a revive on a teammate. And oh, that's Dignitas getting taken out. Squash between too many teams at once.
That happened incredibly fast. And look at the collapse coming in from House of Nobles. They know that these 2 teams have just fought. There are only 8 alive and 40s, but they know some of them are down. They're going to have to use some time to med up, use some time to get their downed up. And as a result, they're going to try and get into a favorable position and get a spread. This is a 4v4. They're going to be a little bit less in terms of meds from the other team. But House of Nobles are doing a pretty good job so far. Hang on a second. Gets absolutely taken out. P-Day has been fantastic all game. He's got 13 total kills, does the team, and he's coming up onto Songbird now as well. If he can actually spot him over the ridge there, he can't over the blades of grass, he'll be great. Now left up to Cloudtail.
Oh, this is very difficult for House of Nobles to push in. They weren't expecting P-Day on the far corner. They didn't check all of their angles on that hillside, and now they're just down to 2, and they don't have position inside the circle. Sunbird maybe just barely inside behind that rock, but I suspect that he's not. Opji here going on the side as well. A very nice spread by Royal Banditos to cut off all angles of entrance for House of Nobles. And now here comes the nade barrage through. None of them finding their mark, but it still puts pressure.
P-Day finds Flicks. I'm surprised the nades haven't actually hit. That was beautiful, actually. OPG was looking at Sunbird while he was busy checking out one of his teammates, and now they are left with 1 alive. And Venety goes down as well. OPG and co. I think they finished that game with, yeah, let's take a look at how many kills, because it was insane. 16 kills, ladies and gentlemen, en route to victory for Royal Banditos. What an incredible tally that is. That really came from nowhere. That was beautiful.
Yeah, very nice finish for this team. Once it hit the last 3 teams on that hill, just great positioning by them to not overextend. We saw Dignitas fall a little early because they got caught between 2 separate teams,